Hello everyone, it's day 31 and today I have April 3rd, 2024 Indian Express newspaper and I found a few important articles over the editorial page. One is about how Delhi maps the world. It is written by C. Raja Mohan and the writer is contributing editor in international affairs of the for the Indian Express and there was another important article over the ideas page, which is Atmanirbhar in defense, and one important article, in fact, two important article over the explained page. So we'll try to read few of them, and if time permits, all of them. So let us see the first article, the editorial, which is about the how Delhi maps the world. So this article is focusing on the island states from South Pacific to African coast are new nodes in India's changing strategic geography. So Delhi's surprising focus on Kachchativu, an island in the narrow strip of waters between India and Sri Lanka, is a part of the ruling BJP's determination to break into Tamil Nadu's electoral map. Hopefully, hopefully the potential negative consequences for Delhi's improving ties with Colombo are manageable. But zooming out to the Kachchativu to the audit of Indian foreign policy over the last decade, we find island states and territories from the South Pacific to the African coast have become new nodes in India's changing strategic geography. Whether it is the Maldives or Delhi's new engagement with the resource-rich Papua New Guinea in the Pacific Islands, the joint development of infrastructure on the Agalega Islands of Mauritius, so Mauritius Agalega Islands is of Mauritius. The collaboration with Australia in the eastern Indian Ocean islands, or the NDA government's focus on developing the Andamans and Lakshadweep islands have emerged as an important part of India's new geopolitics. More broadly, India's strategic imagination of the world's region and how we describe them has altered significantly over the last decade. Consider, for example, the Indo Pacific. The idea was first proposed by the late Japanese Premier Shinzo Abe, in a speech to the Indian Parliament in 2007. Uh, Abe urged us to reflect on the consequence of the two oceans, the Indian and the Pacific, that is Indo Pacific. It ran into the much bureaucratic and political resistance in Delhi. Skeptics in Delhi saw the Indo Pacific as an American plot to entrap India into the containing China. It took over the decade after Abe's call for India to formally embrace the Indo Pacific idea in a speech by Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the annual Shangri La Dialogue in Singapore during the summer of 2018. India's deteriorating relations with China, marked by a series of military crises in 2013, 14, and 17, was an important factor in Delhi's rethink. So was the growing strategic partnership with the US. The Indo Pacific is now well established in the Indian discourse, and so is its institutional anchor, the Quad, which brings together the Australia, India, Japan, and the US. The idea of Eurasia, the continental cousin of the maritime Indo Pacific, has not gained equal currency in the Indian strategic discourse, but it's now part of India's new diplomatic vocabulary. If Japan and the US popularized Indo Pacific, Russia has driven the Eurasian idea. As a great power straddling Europe and Asia, Russia sees the vast Eurasian landmass as its natural sphere of influence. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization, that is SCO, built jointly by Russia and China, was the institutional expression of the Eurasian idea. Given India's stakes in continental Asia, its long standing ties to Russia, and its quest for a multipolar world, Delhi was eager to join SCO. Its campaign concluded successfully in 2017 and became a full and when it became a full member. But India's thinking on Eurasia began to change amid Delhi's deepening problems with Beijing, the growing conflict between Russia and the West, and the deepening Sino-Russian alliance. India's interest is no longer limited to inner Asia, but has expanded to include Europe in the far western corner of Eurasia. Europe in the far western corner of Eurasia. Europe has long been a neglected geography in independent India's international relations. Okay, so that has changed in the last decade. According to the Foreign Office, Modi has traveled to Europe 27 times in the last 10 years and received 37 European head of states and governments. External Affair Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar has traveled 29 times to Europe and received 36 counterparts in Delhi over the last 5 years. Trade is another indication. While a free trade agreement with the European Union remains elusive, The flow of commerce, investment, technology, and people between India and Europe is growing steadily. Europe is India's second largest trading partner. Okay, so Europe is India's second largest trading partner and third largest export destination. Last month, India signed a free trade agreement with the EFTA, constituted by Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland. So, EFTA, constituted by Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, and Switzerland. So, this is important to note down. The last decade has seen France rising political salience as a bilateral partner and collective Europe's growing weight in India's great power relations. Even as India is learning the complex art of economic engagement with the European Union in Brussels, it also recognizes that Europe is not a political monolith but a continent of regions. The Nordic region, the Nordic Baltic coalition, the Med 9 of the South, okay, the Med 9 Nordic Baltic coalition, the Med 9 of southern European nations, and the Caucasus have emerged as a new geographies of consequences for India and the Europe all around. Last week's visit of Dmytro Kuleba, the first by Ukraine foreign minister, underlines India's potential role in shaping war and peace in Central Europe, whose turbulent politics have triggered two world wars and threatens to unleash a third. The plans for an economic corridor between India and Europe via the Middle East, the Abraham Accord, the Gaza War, the rise of Arab Gulf, India's deepening partnership with the UAE and Saudi Arabia, presence of nearly 20 Indian naval ships outside the Red Sea region, and the growing engagement with the Africa in producing a more integrated view of the Middle East, Africa, the Eastern Mediterranean, and the Western Indian Ocean. Amid the expansion of India's geographic vocabulary, there is one unfortunate loser, that is South Asia. SARC's failure has persuaded India to focus on sub regional cooperation in the eastern subcontinent and trans regional cooperation in the Bay of Bengal littoral. Pakistan, in turn, has sought deeper economic integration with China through the CPEC corridor. Islamabad is now looking to UAE and Saudi Arabia to monetize its national assets and overcome the current economic crisis. Reasons are not fixed geographical units. Politics, economics, and ideology have a big role in making and unmaking of regions. Regions are also elastic. South Asia, Southeast Asia, East Asia. So this is the thing which have been mentioned in the this region. Okay, so let us see the another important article that was about the defense, Atmanirbharta in defense, that is the indigenization of defense. So let us see what this article is about to say, because India has recently achieved around more than 2.5 billion dollars of export for the first time in the defense sector. So let us see. So India's defense ecosystem has undergone transformation in several key areas in recent years. Key institutional and policy changes have spurred defense indigenization, domestic capital procurement, and defense exports. In the era of uncertainty, the goals of Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India, and Make in India would mitigate risk on account of disruption and manipulation of critical supply chains, the kind of challenges that have constrained Ukraine in its conflict with Russia. Okay, so one is about mitigate risk on account of disruption or manipulation of critical supply chains. The Defense Acquisition Procedure DAP prescribed 50 percentage indigenization content in procurement contracts to encourage foreign original equipment manufacturers to set up maintenance and manufacturing facilities in India. A new procurement category by Global Manufacturing in India has been introduced. This will enable AB initio indigenization of spare parts. The Union Ministry of Defense has released several positive indigenization lists. So this is important. Positive indigenization list that mention items that must be procured only from domestic sources. Nearly 5,000 items currently imported by the defense public sectors, and the three services figures in this list. 5,000 items and the three services figure in this list. The Srijan indigenization portal was launched in August 2020, and 34,000 items currently being imported have been uploaded on the portal. Nearly a third of them are already in the process of being indigenized. Two defense industrial corridors have been established in Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh. So these have attracted investment of worth rupees 7,000 crores. So MOU for a cumulative potential investments worth over rupees 20,000 crore have also been concluded. In November 2023, the Swedish arms major Saab announced the first 100% FDI project to manufacture the Carl Gustav M4 rocket system. Okay, so 100% FDI is allowed in the Indian defense industry. So there has been laudable progress in the building naval platform. The INS Vikrant, this aircraft carrier, first indigenous aircraft carrier, dedicated to the nation by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi September 2022, is the largest warship built in India's maritime history. It is spawning new technological capabilities across the Indian industry, including the SMEs and MSMEs. The Indian Navy's Warship Design Bureau has launched Project 17A frigates. Project 17A frigates, the INS Vindhyagiri, launched in August 2023, is the latest example of this. So there is equal focus on missiles, long-range artillery guns, multi-barrel rocket launchers, and tanks, besides advanced radar sensors and electronic capabilities. The government recently constituted a committee to undertake a holistic review of the functioning of DRDO, building fit to purpose domestic capabilities in defense research and development and innovation commensurate with the challenges of the 21st century remain the agency's guiding principle. The center has stipulated that a significant portion of the defense capital procurement budget should be diverted to the domestic defense industry. Since 2020-21, the capital acquisition budget for the domestic procurement has risen from around 40% of the total capital procurement budget to that was rupees 52,000 crore to 75%, up to rupees 99,222.23 crore in 2023-24. Moreover, since 2022-23, 25% of this domestic capital procurement budget has been earmarked for purchases from the private sector. As a result of these initiatives, the value of India's defense production crossed the rupees 100,000 crore mark for the first time in financial year 2022-23 to touch rupees 108,684 crore. Defense public sector undertakings accounted for nearly 75% of this. So significantly, private sector companies accounted for rupees 21,000 crore. So these are the few data that is being given. So one important thing that is mentioned is the innovation for defense excellence IDEX initiative. This is important initiative launched in 2018, aims to involve industry including MSMEs, startups, individual innovators, R&D institutes, and academia. So the IDEX Prime framework under IDEX was launched in 2022 to support startups with grant in aid up to rupees 10 crores, grants in aid up to rupees 10 crore to enable the development of high-end solutions. Funding under the Technology Development Fund scheme has been enhanced from rupees 10 crore to 50 crore per project. The DRDO has launched Dare to Dream Innovation contest to support startups and innovation. A quarter of the defense R&D budget in 2023-24 has also been earmarked for academia and the private industry. In 2019, Stockholm International Peace, that is SIPRI, placed India among the top 25 arms exporter at 23rd position for the first time. So India has set a defense export target of 35,000 crore by 2025. So, equally path breaking is PM Modi's consistent effort to craft policies that provide equal career opportunities to women in the armed forces. So, the government's Nari Shakti initiative has played this Nari Shakti initiative has played major role in the transformation of the nation, especially the armed forces. Sainik schools, which have long served as grassroots institution for recruitment of the armed forces, are no longer a male bastion. The doors of the National Defense Academy have also been thrown open to women. The number of women officers has risen sharply in recent years. The goal of Viksit Bharat Developed India by 2047 requires the defense sector to be more resilient and self-reliant. The transformation underway in the defense industrial complex has set the stage for multiple stakeholders to rally and promote domestic technological innovation while cementing strategic partnerships around the world. The day is not far uh, when India will become an integral part of the global defense value chain. So this was about the Atmanirbharta, that transformation of the military industrial complex that is in underway. So let us see one another important, very important article very quickly, which is about the Kalla Kadal. So this is an important term which is in news. So what is Kalla Kadal? Let us see. So hundreds of houses have been flooded in several coastal areas of Kerala due to high sea waves, also known as swell waves, since Sunday. The worst affected region was Alappuzha, Kollam, and Tiruvananthapuram district. Authorities have opened relief camps for the affected local communities. Such flooding events are called swell surge or kalla kadal in Malayalam. So let us see what is this. The kalla kadal is essentially coastal flooding during the pre-monsoon April-May season by swell waves on the southwest coast of India. According to a paper, teleconnection between the North Indian Ocean high swells events and meteorological conditions over the southern Indian Ocean, which was published in the journal AGU in 2016. The study was authored by PG Remya, S. Vishnu, B. Praveen Kumar, T. M. Balakrishna Nair, and B. Rohit, all from the Indian National Center for Ocean Information Services, Hyderabad. The term Kalla Kadal used by the local fisherman is a combination of two Malayalam words, including Kallan and Kadal. Kallan means thief and Kadal means sea. So, in spoken language, these words were combined and pronounced as Kalla Kadal, meaning the ocean that arrives as a thief. The study said in 2012 the term was formally approved by the UNESCO. Okay. So, what causes Kella Cuddle? So, Kella Cuddle is caused by the waves that are formed by an ocean swell, hence the name swell surge. Ocean swells occur not due to the local winds, but rather due to distant storms like hurricanes or even long periods of okay, so not due to local winds, but rather due to distant storms like hurricanes or even long periods of force gale winds. During such storms, energy, huge energy transfer takes place from the air to the into the water, leading to the formation of very high waves. Such waves can travel thousands of kilometers from the storm center until they strike shore. Usually, Kalla Kadal is a consequence of the strong winds in the southern part of the Indian Ocean, where an ocean swell is generated and the waves then travel north to reach the coast in 2 or 3 days. The latest instance took place after a low atmospheric pressure system moved over the region around March 25 and South Atlantic Ocean, 10,000 kilometers of the Indian coast. The arrival of the pressure system resulted in strong winds, which led to the formation of swell waves. Swell waves of Okay, so the arrival of the pressure system resulted in strong winds, which led to the formation of swell waves of up to 11 meters in height. These waves have been hitting the Kerala coast and Lakshadweep since Sunday. So, Kalla Kadal occurs without precursor of any kind of local wind activity, and as a result, it has been very difficult for the coastal population to get an advanced warning. However, early warning system like the swell surge forecast system launched by the Indian National Center for Ocean Information Services in COIS in 2020 gives four varying 7 days in advance. So why is Kallakadal different from tsunami? So Kallakadal came under the spotlight after 2004 tsunami that killed more than 10,000 people. However, Kallakadal is often mistaken to be a tsunami, which is a series of enormous waves created by an underwater disturbance, usually associated with the earthquakes occurring below or near the ocean. Below or near the ocean. So, what is the forecast? The swell surge is likely to continue impacting Kerala and other western coast regions of the country for the next 2 days before they gradually weaken. So, Inquise has stated high waves will move to the Tamil Nadu coast on Tuesday night. It has alerted people in the coastal areas vulnerable to sea erosion to take precautionary steps and ensure the safety of fishing vessels. So, this was about the Kalla Kada, important term in news. So this can be asked in examination, and there is another important article regarding Kacha Thivu Island. But only thing we need to know is that Kacha Thivu Island was a dispute between India and Sri Lanka, which India handed over this island to Sri Lanka in 1975. So that 1974-75. So this was about this story. Not that much important. It's only the geographical location. Knowing the geographical location will do the trick. So this was all from today's newspaper. So we'll meet for April 4th newspaper tomorrow. Till then,